Okay, welcome back, Year 4, Lesson 8, Fractions of Amounts. Now, I really like fractions and any maths problems with them in, so I hope you do too. If you don't, fingers crossed you will by the end of the next couple of sessions. Okay, so you can see I've given you two examples that we're going to work through. I've given the first one, which is half of 96. How are we going to work that out? And then the second one is 1/6 of 42. Now, just a recap. With any fraction, we've got a number above the line, which is our numerator, and our number below the line, which is our denominator. Okay, so if we take a really simple fraction, like a half, so if I just draw my square here, and I split it straight down the middle in half, and I shade 1/2 in, okay, the numerator tells me how many fractions are shaded in, so 1. The denominator tells me how many fractions there are altogether, so there's one shaded fraction and one non-shaded fraction. So altogether there's 2 fractions. So, right, working out fractions of amounts. Step 1 is this bottom number, for our example, a half of 96. I need to ask myself how many 2's go in to 96. Now, the easiest way when we ask ourselves that question is just to halve 96. Okay, so half of 96 would be 48. And then whatever my answer is, I keep it in my head, and then I multiply it by my numerator, which is 1. Okay, so 48 times 1 is 48. Now, that one was slightly tricky, okay, because I was asking myself how many 2's go into 96. This next one is a lot easier. So remember, first step is I ask myself, how many times does the denominator go into the amount? Okay, so how many 6's are there in 42? Well, there's 7. And then I multiply my 7 by my numerator, which is 1. 7 times 1 is 7. So 1/6 of 42 equals 7. All of your questions today will all have a numerator of 1. All right, to make it slightly simpler for you. So you can see here, I've given you 6 problems, okay? So again, if I run through one final example, and I ask you, what is 1/3 of 12? So again, first question I ask myself is how many 3's go into 12? And it's 4. And then I multiply that number by the numerator, which is 1. 4 times 1 is 4. Okay, so pause now, please. Work through these answers. So for this first one, you're going to ask yourself how many 4's are there in 36? And that's your answer because, like I said, you're multiplying by 1. So whatever the answer is will stay the same when you multiply by 1. So pause now and then press play when you're ready to go through the answers. Okay, fab. So going through these answers nice and quickly. 1/4 of 36. How many 4's go into 36? 9. 9 times 1, 9. How many 6's are there in 42? Is 7. So 1/6 of 42 is 7. Was that the same as the example? Oh, yep. Sorry about that. 1/8 of 24. Well, how many 8's go into 24 is 3. 1/7 of 84. How many 7's go into 84? 12. 12 times 1, 12. How many 7's are there in 49? 7. And how many 5's go into 100? Well, it's actually 20. Okay. Hopefully this was a little bit of a recap today. Okay. And we will go through that method again in tomorrow's session. All right. So well done for having a go, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.